Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. And today we're going to look over 10 of my favorite cards from set 12. This is a really interesting set in a lot of ways. Essentially, it just made like 8 new archetypes and printed support for it, and it's just, they're all really unique. They're not as much room for like deck building creativity, but all the decks I feel have like their unique stances, and it's just a really creative list in a lot of ways. So it's going to be really cool. I don't think any of these cards are like, you know, meant to like upgrade previous strats as much as making just some new archetypes to kind of build up to what we're currently at and just really mix up the meta from there. So we're going to do a more interesting top 10 list. It's not even going to be top 10. There's just going to be 10 cards that I really like. It's going to be one card from every color, and there's also going to be I'm going to have like the first 5 are going to be non-super rares and the last 5 is going to be super rares, just because I feel like it's easy to say, oh, of course the super rare cards are really, really good. So we're going to do it that way instead. And then also, if you guys want to get any cards off TCG Player, please consider using my link in the description below. If you click that link and then you buy any cards with it, I get a little bit of a kickback from it, and it just helps me and supports, you know, my channel and everything else. So I'd really appreciate it, and it comes to no cost from you if you're, you know, thinking of getting cards anyways. And let's jump into, I guess, number 10. Well, I'm not going to do the numbering thing, but we're just going to go over to the cards that I really like from this set. Alright, to start us off, we've got this Balma Confident Friend. Red was like the weird color for this entire thing, just because both of its archetypes are just really skewed on what they do, and there wasn't like, Red literally only had like a couple like good generic cards, and they were mostly super rares. So I just decided to choose this Balma Confident Friend just because I felt like it was good for both archetypes. Both archetypes of the King Piccolo and the Launch One could use this Balma, so it's good for that. And then also, like, it's just like an Earthling that says when this card is played, draw 1, and then if your leader card is a red Earthling card with only 10k power or less, when this card is used in a combo, flip up to 1 card in your life face up. At the end of your turn, flip all face down cards in your life face down. So it's just kind of like moderately good in the sense like you just get the card draw. I could see this like in like Red Balma because, you know, it's an Earthling, so you get, you know, block when you play it. And then also, being able to find cards in your life just means that when you do take damage, you can like find, you know exactly what you're taking. So being able to like get this kind of niche thing in archetypes that aren't necessarily launch or King Piccolo is really, really cool. So being able to scout your life out for what your, you know, potential future card draws could be. And then also like really fringe if if you are a red Earthling only card. Then you're able to kind of do some things against like the Turtles matchup where you can flip all your life face down, which means they're going to have a hard time flipping all your life face up to, you know, do their early awakening and stuff. So it's just, this is like the worst card on the list for sure, but it's just kind of nice, and it was for like a red common uncommon card. I thought it was good enough, so that's what we chose for the first one. And then going to the green rare common uncommon, we've got the Raditz Invader from Afar. I really like this card. It's a really good unison, and I think the worst thing about this card is that it's green, and I mean that because green has a lot of really good unisons. It probably has better unisons than most other colors at the moment, and so it just has like some really hard, you know, it's a hard spot to fill like a better unison for those. But I think this does a lot. I mean, obviously it's good for Turtles just because you can flip 1 card in your opponent's life face up. Also has this +1, you may choose 1 card in your hand, discard it. If you do, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand, discards it, then choose up to 1 of your cards, and it gains critical for the turn. So it could be nice for like a bunch of different decks. For like, I could see it like in Frieza, you can use that to, you know, give your leader a crit, but also you can use it to, you know, discard a Dodoria, which means you play it for free, which you have pod, like, you know, healing pod Frieza. If you have a leader that can get double strike, just being able to give your leader double strike crit is really good as well. Like for, you know, for example, like Reboot Gohan could also use this just because it gives it crit for the turn. You know, obviously Reboot Gohan likes the crit on active battle, but this could be a unison if you have like a more mid-range version of the deck, so that's kind of cool. It just has a lot of utilities. It's a good card. Also has just this -5 if your opponent chooses 3 cards in their hand and discards them. So it's just good for that sense too, because it's not hard. Like if your opponent wants that not to happen, they have to swing into this 20k body, which means they have to use resources and like cards in their hand and stuff. And it just means like it's just I don't know. It's a good mid-range card. I like this card a lot, and I think it's a good unison for green. Though it might have a hard time competing with the other good green unisons, especially like Dark Brawler or something like that. But I think this is good for like a more mid-range control strategy for green. And then for the black uncommon common rare, we've got Son Goku, True Fighting Spirit. This is kind of like a Black Mass Saiyan, but it's a little bit more restrictive, but it does have some really good effects. So it has Deflect on a 5k, and also auto, add 1 card from your life to your hand when this card attacks. It gains plus 10k power for the turn, and also auto once per turn. If your leader is a Black Saiyan card, when your opponent activates a counter skill, they choose 1 card from their hand and send it to the warp. So immediately, there are already like a lot of good Black Saiyan leaders that exist. For example, Dark Broly is one, and also Vegix. Like those two are probably one of 2 of the strongest leaders in the game right now. So being able to have this thing that just says, oh, by the way, if you use a counter or something, you have to drop a card. Like you warp a card too, which is like so much better. And like Dark Broly, you definitely want to like use counters against that deck because they have big 30k swings. And kind of similar to the thing with Vegix, but it's just a good card for getting that tempo. And then if you need to like awaken, being able to just have the plus 5k, like it's just like a Black Mass Saiyan in a lot of ways. Black Mass Saiyan is a really good card. I think this is obviously more restrictive because it's only for Black Saiyan leaders, but those are really good leaders right now, so this is a good card for those decks. Next up, we've got the Vados. Unison, so it's a 2-drop yellow, and an auto. When your opponent attacks, you may choose 1 yellow skillless battle card in your hand to drop it and combo with it. If you do, negate the skill for the turn, which just means you can give protection to anything, including your own Unison. So if they swing in with like a 15k against your Unison, when they activate their auto, like when they attack into your Vados, you can just do this combo, and which means they have to like just being able to have like protection on your Unison in general is really key. Not a lot of cards have that, so that's kind of nice. But there's so many cards that just benefit from you like comboing with something for free, especially skillless cards like the the Sun Gohan leader. If you combo with something with monster, you can do that. With the new Whis leader, you have that. With the and there's also just stuff like oh shoot, I'm forgetting it. But just like if you need to do like an arrival something, just being able to combo with something yellow for free, which means you just have to combo 1 more red card and then you can do something with arrival. So that's good too. Obviously it's only on defense, but like cards with arrival are only good with defense as well. And it just gains like a lot of free value just with its auto. And then +1, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, Unison cards, switch into rest mode. So that's moderately okay, just being able to switch things to rest and being able to swing into it. And then -4, play up to 2 skillless battle cards with 15k power from your deck or drop here, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. This is also okay. Obviously with the deck that it goes with, they're having those coup cards on the field are really, really good. But it's just like a moderately good -4 just because it generates value and it makes more swings. It can be kind of aggressive if you need to do it, but also just this card just existing on the field is just great for the deck. So really like this card. It's a good Unison for what it's doing. And then lastly, I think I did this out of order, but I don't care anymore. We've got this blue Son Goku Fusion Synergy. I just added this here because this is the first one of these guys, I don't know, like Kaba effects that blue gets that has critical, which is insane because this game's been out for like 3 years, right? Like almost, yeah, for 3 years. It's been out for a really long time, and this is the first one that blue has like one of these with crit. And then also the only other one it has, so it has Pan, which just returns it to the hand, but it also has a Vegeta that gives it double strike, but which is nice because now we have a 5k Goku and a 5k Vegeta that are both 1-drops that can also do like fusion stuff and all the other stuff. But he's just a good card. Being able to use it for awakening is good. Critical is always a good skill. I would say like critical is better. I like critical more than double strike, even though double strike's probably better in general, just because it's you can finish the game with it a lot easier than crit. But I think this card just needed to be printed eventually, and it did, so it's a good card, and you should have this one. Alright, going to the super rares, we've got this Lord Slug. The Order of Plans, I really, really like this card, and I put it, I did it here because I don't think it's obviously only good in its archetype, but it's such a great card for its archetype. I think it's something that makes the archetype very viable. It's a 3-drop slug with 15k. It has a deflect and then auto bond 2. If you leave a slug army when your opponent uses a card in their combo, you may place the card in its owner's drop area. If you do, you and your opponent draw 1, then negate the skill for the turn. So if like you read this and you're like, okay, so it's not super duper good because like your opponent still gets to draw a card after their combo, so they don't like lose a card, but you still get like in your opponent's cycles for free, right? But you still get a card, right? Like that's the biggest thing about this guy, and it activates on both players' turns. So like if you swing with something and this is on the field and your opponent combos, you draw 1, and then it's your opponent's turn, and then they combo again, you draw another card. So you just generate so much value with this card. You just draw so much. Super duper good, and it's easy to get out with all the effects that have it. your opponent will have to like decide to work with this or KO it or spend resources getting rid of this guy. And then also, when this card is removed by opponent's skill or KO'd, if your opponent has 7 more cards in their hand, you play up to 1 green slug army with any cost of 1 from your drop area. So even if you do get rid of this, you still cycle with it, and like you don't lose, like you still get a body back out, and there's good 1-drops in the deck. So this is, I don't know, like this is like a broken card in my mind, with a broken card for a not so broken archetype. So like this can carry the archetype just because of how much value it's able to gain and everything else, and like just making your opponent not want a combo is kind of fun. But yeah, I like the card a lot, and I think it carries the deck. But we also have, next up we've got Janimba, Bewitching Blow. So this is, I don't think this card needs to be explained too much, but it's a big Janimba 3-drop with crit, dual attack, 19k, which is already good enough. But if you have 3 or more cards in your energy, you choose one of your blue skills battle cards, any cost 2 or 3, return to his owner's hand. Place this card from your hand, and you can activate main skills, a copy of this card for the turn. So just being able to like play this for literally free, and like you get the card that the skillless card back to your hand, which means you just have more combo fodder with it. And then this can go up the Xeno Janimba chain as well. So just having like a free card to start the chain just feels good. Being able to do like crit pressure in general is also really good, especially because it's a 19k. If this was 20k, it'd be broken, but it's only 19k. That's still like good. And then I don't know. There's not much to talk about this guy. It's just a good card, and it's really essential for its archetype. But even if you're just running like a skillless deck that happens to be running blue, like you can just auto run this card, right? It's free. Like even if you're running like skillless Goku, and you just play, you play the 1-drop, and then you use 2 energy, get 30k out, you swing at the 30k, and then after that you can just get more swings. It's just good. It's a good card, and you should play it. And if you're doing the stuff. And then next up we've got Dark Mask King, Devilish Dominator. I don't know how I super feel about this card, but I feel like this is a good side deck for a lot of things. It has Deflect, Triple Strike, Auto once per turn. When this card attacks, send up to 2 battle cards from your opponent's drop area to their warp. If your opponent has 10 or more cards in their warp, switch this card to active mode. So being able to, like, this becomes like a double strike, dual attack, triple strike, which is really nice. And then auto once per turn. If your opponent activates a counter skill during a battle with this card, send 1 card from your opponent's life to their warp, which is great. Like, they just can't activate combos with counters against this guy. And then active main for 4. If your other card is black and your opponent has 3 or more cards in their warp, you can play this card from your hand. So in a lot of ways, this is just like a skillless, the Fu 8-drop that you pay for 4, that has like a triple attack, and like every time you activate a skill, you have to discard a card, or you warp a card from your hand. So your opponent has to do that. So it just feels like a good finisher, like a generically good finisher. You do have to kind of be around your opponent warping cards, but it's not terribly hard for your opponent to do that, especially since there's so many cards that do it for you. But I think like this is a good side deck card, and in some matchups when their opponent obviously like Vegix or like Broly, right? Both those decks, they're going to do the work for you. And so if you just want to side this in as like a sneak finisher, you're doing really good with it. So I think that's like a good idea for this card. Probably just a good sideboard card. But if you're playing against a matchup that dictates that you can play this card for 4 no matter what, you're in a really good spot. So I think it's a cool card. And to really look, own like 1 or 2 of these guys, and then if the meta is good, where a lot of decks are warping their own cards, you just sneak this in, and then you can do really good. Next up, we've got Piccolo Jr., Descendant of the Kings. This is just like the red unison I've been waiting for a long time. Especially, I kind of did the joke post. Let me get the card up, but with the Bardock. It's not like broken, it's not or anything like that, but it's definitely like a card that I've been waiting to do something with. Yeah, it's this one right here. This Bardock Strategic Mind. So this is just a 3-drop 20k. It has Deflect that says if your leader card's a mono red, when this card's played, choose one of your red unison cards, add 3 markers to it. So like this is like just a generically good card. So auto, when your opponent activates a counter skill, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with 15k power or less and KO it. And then boom, +1, you just draw a card, which is fine. Like that's like the dream for like a +1, just being able to draw cards for free. But also as this -2, you can choose up to one of your red battle cards, any cost 3 or less. Choose all your opponent's battle cards with power less than or equal to the chosen card and KO them. Then this card gains Rejuvenate once per turn. Remove 2 markers from this card for the turn. And for the longest time I thought like this card KO'd the card you chose and then all the rest of your opponent's cards, but it doesn't. You just get to keep the card out anyways. But once again, the cheesy strat is just you play this turn 2, and then you add a marker to it. It has 3, and then if it lives, you just hard cast this for 3, giving this one 3 more markers for it, and then you can do the -2 where you blow up everything with a 20k or less, and then after you do that, you can rejuvenate if you need to. I don't know if you have to rejuvenate, but there we go. It's just a cute little combo. But even outside of that combo, this is still like a good card. Being able to do -2 for a potential board wipe is fine. Red has a lot of ways to like give like boosts to their cards as well. And anything like with 15k, like just being able to wipe everything with 15k or less is even good enough. So like, let's say you play like a 1-drop Kaba swing, give it plus 10k, make it a 15k, and then you can choose that Kaba, and then everything with 15k less gets KO'd. That's just like a really cool little combo, and I think it works out really well. So I like this card a lot. It just generates value. Oh, it also has this auto when your opponent activates a counter skill. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, 15k power or less, and KO it. So, and this is just like, this isn't once per turn. This is, right? Yeah. This is not once per turn. And it's not only on your turn, so if they activate like a counter, like let's say you play something and then they play Frieza, counterplay Frieza on your thing, you can still use your Piccolo Jr. auto to boom, just blow up your opponent's Frieza. And so, even though you have to pay energy, you both lost a card, and like you just like it just helps you out and it has protection in that way. So there we go. I think this card's good, and like the decks that it works for, it really works for. And then lastly, Whis, a helping hand. I think this card is great. If you're running skillless, and I think skillless, it's really hard to gauge skillless because there's so many flavors of it, and you kind of have to be like a generically good like skillless player to put all these pieces together and really play the deck at I think full optimum. But this just generates a lot of value, and it's just a really good 1-drop. So when this card is played, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add to 1 yellow skillless battle card or 1 yellow unison card specified cost of 2 among them, add them to your hand, then shuffle, or sorry, among them, then add them then to your hand and shuffle your deck, excuse me. And then auto, when you use a skillless battle card in your combo, draw 1 card, you can't activate the auto skill on copies of this card for the turn, which just means you can't have like 4 of these out and then draw 4 cards, which is fine. I think that's fine just to have it like a one of, but it just works really good, and it works really well with your Vados unison as well that we talked about earlier. So turn 1 you play Whis, you add a skillless card to your hand or your Vados, and then turn 2 you just play this, and then if your opponent swings, you get a combo for free, which means you get some free protection on your Vados and then or anything else that you swing into, and then also you're able to then draw a card with your Whis, which just meant like for free you got a where's Whis? There's Whis. So for free you got a 5k combo, and then you got a draw, and then with the Whis unison, I think you get to place the card that you get to play the card for free too. It's just all good. It's just a bunch of value, and it's not even just restricted to the Whis deck. It's just good for any skillless deck running yellow anyways. So definitely worth consideration in that regard, and it's just a good card. Like even like skillless Gohan. When you use a yellow skillless battle card and a combo draw 1, you're already like comboing with stuff anyways, like with the monster. So when you combo with like the monster like Higher Dragon, then you get to draw 2 cards, which is crazy. Like it's just like good value, and you can do that on both players' turns. So you're just getting a huge hand size in that regard. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what cards I missed from either of these. And once again, if you guys do want to consider buying some cards, please consider using my TCG player link in the description, and I really appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. Let me know what you pull, what you guys are excited for from the set, and I'll catch you all next time.